Just wanted to give you a quick update on Bitcoin with the Sunday close. Again, with the tensions in the Middle East, saw a downward resolution to the triangle with Iran attacking Israel there on Saturday, but no casualties. Apparently a little girl was injured, and that was the extent of that, and 99% of the drones and missiles, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles were intercepted. Israel, the United States, the UK, and France joined in. Also, Saudi Arabia and Jordan. There's going to be this big sigh of relief, and I talked about the possibility of a relief rally with stock market. The same thing with Bitcoin. It could still move to new highs. It's still in the trading range. We didn't take out the trading range here. We're still in this trading range, and it's still, we did not confirm the weekly chart, the downside. So we're still in a sideways trading range, much like what the NASDAQ is doing. So if we rebound, again, this right here is the resistance. We broke down below the support, seeing the cloud go from green to red to green to red to green to red. That means we're going sideways, which means we're either going down or we're going sideways right now. If we turn back above the cloud right here, which is just under the 78.6 Fibonacci, right around that 70,000 area, still might try to challenge the highs. Now, so what's going to happen is you're going to have people respond to this, whether they do it immediately or whether there's a delayed reaction, do it next weekend or the following weekend, remains to be seen. But if we can get a delayed reaction, we can get the market rebounding. Once Israel responds, it's going to rattle Bitcoin. It's going to rattle the stock market. In earnings season in the stock market, we could still rebound. The S&P gapped lower, and the NASDAQ there on Friday. The Dow has 3 gaps. I think you've got a shot at a rebound. If Bitcoin can get back above this trend line and back above the 50-period moving average, it can rebound. And if you can clear this trend line, we tried to break out. It was a fake out, and we broke to the downside. If we get back above these trend lines, you have a fake out to the downside, and you have this sideways trading range. It is possible that we don't move to new high, and you're forming a larger descending triangle here, which is a possibility. You take this peak here and this peak here, and these lows here, and you have the potential of a descending triangle, but you're still in this trading range. So again, we get back above the 50, you get back above this broken trend line, then this breakdown will fail, just as this breakout failed up here. If we remain below it and we just back test, then we can get a bigger drop if you get rejection at the 10 and 20 period moving average. And then if you take out this level right here. So if we get an immediate response from Israel, we're now going to move. The first time Iran has ever directly engaged in an attack directly Israel from Iranian soil. So they are going to, there's been other groups that have attacked Israel. Well, Iran watched from the sidelines. This is a direct attack. Israel is going to respond, and not this failed attack that the crypto markets and stock market are going to react to. It's going to be when Israel responds, which again, we'll see if it's immediate or if we buy a little bit more time. If we buy a little bit more time, Bitcoin can still go up and try to make a counter trend, or it can still try to go higher. It's still struggling to close above 69,000, which is necessary and a requirement if we have a new bull market. You have an attempt to break above 69,000 here, it failed. Attempted to do it here, it failed. You attempted to do it here, it failed. So again, we still may do it, but because we did not confirm the weekly bar to the downside. Well, again, just some things I'm watching. The trend line here, the 50-period moving average, you get above the 50 and the 10 and 20, which are crisscrossing back and forth, then you can attempt to rebound. You get above the upper boundary trend line, you get above the upper boundary of the cloud here, then you can get a bigger rebound. That means we go above 70,000. So just some things to be paying attention to. You break down right here, or you back test the broken trend line and then break down and halt at the 10 and 20 period moving average. That's bearish. We'll get a bigger dump immediately. But we can hang around this 69,000 area for a while, and we have been. We still don't want to rule out that we go make a new high. Again, if Bitcoin is getting a legitimate breakout, you got to get above 69,000 and not drop back below it. So far, it keeps dropping back below it. We know there's distribution going on here, and that's why this is happening. Right now, we're back on a sell signal here. Going sideways, we'll see if it turns back to bullish, then you got a pretty good shot. You're going to try to make a new high. If you can't turn back to bullish here, then look out below. Again, the trend lines, the lower and the upper boundary of the triangle, and the cloud here will act as resistance. Again, we might just back test, and that might be the end of it. So we'll be watching. But so far, support is holding. You get a drop, you get a pop or a drop, or you get a drop immediately, then you're going down to that 100 period moving average there, right around the 57,000, just under 57,000 now. It follows the 100 period moving average. When you're above it, good things are happening. When you're below it, bad things are happening. But I wanted to show you this here in the daily time frame because we did have the volatility surrounding Iran's attack on Israel. I want to say this. I covered other things, important things about the dollar and so forth in my last update. Just wanted to show you what's going on here with the triangle and show you what's going on with the chart real fast. So you might want to watch the last video I did. I'll link it at the end of this one. Here we've had the breakdown of the triangle. Now you need a confirmation, okay, of that by taking out this level here. We're trying to bounce. And again, we were down 8%. We ended up closing down only 4.61%, rebounding off of the lows, and then recovered even more on Sunday, 2.65%. Currently, we're down 0.68% here going into the Monday session right there. Here's what I want to show you. And again, look at the candlesticks. Again, we keep coming up to the 69,000 area and get rejection. Come up to it, get rejection. We came up to it, we got rejection. We've done it 3 times now. Still may try to exceed 73,000, just under 73,800, because the candlestick, we had a hangman candlestick the previous week. This is the closing week we had for Sunday. We now start the new week here, going into Monday session. And here's the hangman candlestick. Just like the candlestick with their spinning top, no confirmation at all. And then we rebounded, went back up, tested the highs, got a lower high. Okay, now we've come down. We formed the hanging man the previous week, no confirmation. Okay, you got to have candlesticks confirmed if you're going to get a reversal. Now, if we have a breakout, get above 69,000 and stay above it, and we keep getting rejection. Okay, we keep getting rejection at it. Okay, that's the problem. And you've got negative divergences. Go watch my last video. Showed you the negative divergences in the weekly time frame. We still may get one more in the daily time frame, and we still may see Bitcoin attempt to go back up here and still take out this high, but still end up getting a blow off top candlestick. And this time, if that happens, that candlestick may be confirmed, but this one was not. This one was not. So there's still the possibility if we can get back above the 50 period moving average, we can get back above 69,000, either get a legitimate breakout or you can get a blow off top, kind of a topping tail final climax high that could take us higher, maybe again towards that upper boundary of the expanded boundary of the pitchfork, which I will show you in just a second. Quickly, we had a 9 count sell signal with that hanging man candlestick. Okay, so we still may exceed it because bar 6 was the high of the count. So it's not a perfected sell signal. It may be that when we push above through bar 6 at 73,800, you will get a perfected sell signal still if we end up attempting a rally. Again, we're watching to see, does Bitcoin get a legitimate breakout? Off to the races and just keep going, never looking back, not dropping below 69,000. So far, that's not the case. So far, it's been going sideways. We came up here, we've been going sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Well, you know what else has been going sideways for 7 weeks? The NASDAQ. It's been going sideways for 7 weeks. So, and NASDAQ has a triangle. Bitcoin had a triangle, but it broke. I had a fake breakout, tried to break out, and then it had to break down. But we're still in the trading range. Which is it? Do we break out and get a legitimate breakout here, off to the races? Do we get a breakdown? Or do we get a fake out and go up here and complete a 9 count, a perfected 9 count sell signal, closing, or not closing, but pushing above this level? And if that happens, you can see a topping tail form if we get a fake out. And again, it could be a blow off top, kind of a candlestick where you go up and you get a topping tail, much like what we had here, where we go just a little bit above the 73,800 area. Okay, maybe you go into the high 70s or into the low 80s or something. You get candles that look like this, where you get a topping tail and sellers are lurking there. We know that sellers have been lurking here, and that's why we're struggling at this level, but we still may get a blow off top, a final climax high. And when I say a blow off top, I mean that this is the blow off top, but you get the final climax, the final blow off top, where you get this topping tail and you start the reversal. Again, if there is a delayed response by Israel responding to its attack over the weekend, Israel is going to respond, and it's not the Iranian attack on Israel. It's going to rattle the markets. It's going to be when Israel responds. It's likely going to rattle the stock market. It's likely going to rattle Bitcoin. But I'm just telling you, it is still possible, if they don't do an immediate response, that we could still see Bitcoin attempt to rally. I think it's highly probable that we're going to get an attempted rebound in the stock market with the bullish divergences that are forming. I think it's very probable that Bitcoin could attempt to rebound as well. I said, if it gets back above the 50-period moving average and the trend lines, the triangle, then you got a shot at going and challenging the highs again. But we're in this trading range. Do we get a lower high and start seeing evidence with the lower low? Or do we get one of these things where you go back up and you make a higher high above our previous peak here for the top? I wanted to show you the close, not confirmed. The hanging man pattern was not confirmed, so we can still attempt to rally. Keep in mind that Bitcoin is still undergoing a distribution. You can see it here in the weekly time frame. The distribution here looks very similar to what we had over here at this top, very similar to this top over here. And because it's undergoing distribution, that doesn't mean it still can't make a new high, but it could still make a new high and fail, and we could still see further distribution. Bitcoin's going to get a legitimate breakout. You got to see a breakout of this consolidation area, and again, break above 69,000. Never look back and just keep going. Conventional wisdom is we're going to have the halving, and Bitcoin's just going to go off to the races. Can get above 69,000, stay above it, then it can. But if it gets rejection, like we got rejection over here, as I've talked so much about with this breakout, then you can get a reversal. So do we get that immediately and the high is in? If we get a reversal, do we go up and get a head fake and a fake out, final climax high, a blow off top here developing, get a reversal, or do we get a legitimate breakout? So which is it? That's what we're watching. But I'm just telling you, at this level, there's clear distribution taking place, just as there was over here, just as there was over here, just as there was accumulation down over here. If we get a blow off top, we get a perfected 9-count sell signal. You still might get a fake out even if you go to a new high. So just something worth paying attention to. Stock market's becoming oversold. It has 3 gaps it could still fill. So if we do attempt to rebound in the market, can Bitcoin rebound, dance around this area a little bit more? Because Bitcoin did not confirm the weekly candlestick, the hanging man candlestick that we had in the previous week, it could still move to a new high. And if it does, and still up with a failed breakout. Here's the upper boundary of the pitchfork, and we didn't quite reach it here. And if we go higher, you still might reach it. It's coming in around 81,000 or so if we hit it immediately. But again, something we're paying attention to. Do we get a final blow off top and a climax high, very similar to the tops previously formed, and we go above the 73,000, you come over here like right here, and right here, where we had a peak, and then we had a peak, we turned down, and then we went and made a final climax high, and then you turned, had a peak, it failed, you went up and you made a final climax high, a topping tail in both of those cases, and then you turned. Dropped 55%, dropped 52%, rebounded, dropped 63%. And again, could see something like that if we have a failed breakout on our hands. We broke out on extremely light volume 3 weeks ago. We closed above 69,000, okay, but it was on super light volume, running spring break and Easter. So again, I'll be watching. If we do attempt to go higher with Bitcoin, it may look something like what we had over here. And again, I'll be watching that upper boundary of the pitchfork still, and upper boundary of the channel. Now again, it may be that we have a lower high and lower low, and that the peak that we had a few weeks back was it. We moved above the upper channel here to move towards just under that upper expanded boundary of the pitchfork. Still may come up here, try to get a top and get a blow off top, like a topping tail, a shooting star, or a doji or something, and then come back down. So it is still possible that we try to rally to a new high. The S&P is doing the same thing. It's up at this channel line right here. It has a channel just like Bitcoin. It's straddling along that level. They're both experienced, and so is NASDAQ, experiencing distribution. An area, if we try to rally, we could go up here because we have not confirmed the candlestick as a reversal from our previous week. And I told you I was watching to see how we would close. Well, we closed stronger in that we did not confirm the previous week's candle. Still going sideways, just like the NASDAQ. In the 4-hour time frame, Bitcoin has become oversold in that it is trying to bounce off our 400 period moving average. If we start taking this level out, taking out horizontal support, you can get a bigger dump right here and now. But if we try to bounce off this level, or even break it and form a divergence and get back above it, you get a divergence right here on the RSI, then you could possibly attempt to rebound again. In order for Bitcoin to rebound, you got to get back above the 50, the green line, back above the 200, the black line. Right now the 50 is holding above the 200, but we've dropped below the trending cloud. We've dropped below the moving averages. So again, if we remain that way, then that's bearish if we lose this level of support. If you can bounce here, again, you can get back above the 50 period in the daily. You got a shot at a rebound. But if you hold below this level, that's bearish. The parameter went negative. It's been trying to find support in the triangle, at these lows here and here, rebounding back up, rebounding back up. Now we're breaking this level. So the risk is that we're now going to break down. We continue to hold below the 50 and the 200. If the 50 crosses back below the 200 and you hold below the cloud, that's bearish. Get above these levels, that's a sign of strength, and you can have a recovery. So again, at the moment of truth here, we've broken down from the triangle, but is it going to take out this horizontal support area here on Bitcoin? The lows here, from the lows over here, are we going to take these levels out? Going to bounce off of them. Now we keep dropping above and below the 50 and the 200 period moving average. Here we bounced off the 200. Here we dropped below it, got back above it, dropped below it. Both of those moving averages. So again, if we remain below them, it's bearish. You can get back above them, then it's bullish. So we'll be watching to see how it unfolds. Now it's bearish, and we've broken down, had a downward resolution of the triangle. The horizontal support did not get taken out. If we take it out, then that's going to be extremely bearish. If we take it out and it fails and we get back up and form a little divergence on the RSI, then you can get a rebound. Take it out and remain below the horizontal support area. You've got to break it. So again, I think if the market could try to rally, Bitcoin still may attempt a rebound. We'll be watching to see how it all unfolds.